A grumpy old man meets a chipper young boy, and they have an adventure that stops him from mourning his wife's death for a minute.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with
Michelle,
Andre,
Louise,
and me, Emily. We're a family-friendly podcast where we pick a new Disney movie each week. We watch it, share our thoughts, and then relate it to pop culture, fandoms, and anything else that pops into our heads. Enjoy!
hello and welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 63. What's up, guys?
hey.
I can't believe 63.
We've done 63 of these.
That's a lot.
Oh,
That's odd.
no.
That really is a lot.
We're
We can
almost as-
retire in 2 years, right?
We're
No,
almost as
that's
old as
55.
Carl.
Not 65.
Well,
Debatable.
Retirement age is definitely
Debatable.
going up.
I'm pretty sure you just work until you die at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing.
Womp womp.
Yeah, I'm also planning on dying at like 45, so I'm not even gonna hit retirement age.
Dang.
This week we are talking about 2009's Pixar animated movie Up.
In the sky.
Nope.
It's a bird.
Nope.
It's a plane.
No.
It's a balloon house.
What?
It's a balloon house.
It's a balloon house. Andre, first impressions of one of our coming to a close Pixar movies. Up.
Hold on, did you say the year on this?
2009.
Yes, 2009.
I should know that.
So it was, oh wow, hey, 10 years ago, guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
10
We in the 2019s. This is 2009.
years ago.
Let's see. It came out May 29th, 2009. It's almost its 10-year anniversary. Yeah, look at that.
Oh, perfect timing. How come we always do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Andre, first impression.
Serendipity.
Serendipity.
I'm trying to remember if I don't think I saw this in theaters. I don't know where I first watched it, but I definitely saw it because I definitely remember that opening, the sad opening that we all know. And
Okay,
love.
you know the reason I know that so well is because people love to repost just that 10 minutes on Facebook like all the time, and I have to watch it. So
You have to watch it.
yeah, I have to.
You're
And that's
forced.
the exact reason why I don't have a Facebook, because I do not need to be seeing
Yeah, I don't. I
that
feel like I
10
don't
minutes
see
reposted.
that often. But my first impression, regardless of when I first saw it, I like this movie a lot. It's fun and it's funny, and there's a lot of silly jokes and characters in it.
That's for sure.
And the only thing that stands out or doesn't stand out is like I forget the plot of this. Like I've probably seen it 2 or 3 times, and I've forgotten the entire plot every single time that I watched it. We just watched it last night, so hopefully I'll remember most of it today. But
Huh, good
We
job.
watched it last night, too, so we're between the 4 of us, I think we'll remember the plot
all
pretty
right,
well.
cool, good to go. So first impression, jolly good.
I'll say my first impression, I think this is the first time I've watched it all the way through, because I remember watching it at some point years ago and not being either engaged or liking it and thinking it was really weird. And so I can only remember very, very sporadic things. Similarly, I didn't remember any of the plot. So pretty much like once they're like in Paradise Falls, I was like, I have no idea what happens now.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
no idea.
What else is
who
going
knows what's
on?
going to happen? So, but upon this viewing, I will say, after suspending all disbelief,
Lots of disbelief.
All
I
of it.
agree.
after just saying no to all of it, I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Right.
It was cute. But it left me with a lot of questions that are just like, what?
Yeah.
But it was cute.
Right.
Like I enjoyed it.
It's
I
a
thought it
cute
was
movie.
cute.
Mm-hmm.
So cute. I guess is
Cute.
cute is the word.
Louise, first impressions before you drink that bowl of cereal milk.
I actually love this movie. It's pretty cool. I was a little bit more open to suspend my disbelief than Ems was till one particular part, and I'll share my views on that later. But I really liked it. This is the first time I've actually finished the movie. First time I tried to watch it, I stopped and I don't remember where, but I stopped.
I just think it's funny that you enjoyed this movie so much when it's literally the like one of the weirdest movies, like recent movies.
It's pretty
Sure.
silly.
It's pretty silly.
Yeah.
It's
and
very
Luis is over here like,
I like it.
Kevin.
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 I'm Kevin.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Michelle, what's your first impression?
I remember loving this movie, but I think the reasons I loved it were not because of the movie itself, if that makes sense. Like, I really focused on all of the Carl and Ellie part of the storyline and not the Paradise Falls dog kid
Russell.
Kevin storyline. So this time I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I don't remember this part of the storyline at all. And I was enjoying it, but I was with you on this, Emily. There was a lot of disbelief I had to suspend, and I don't know if I was ready to suspend it. Like, I'll just have to say it. I didn't know that Carl could be like Indiana Jones, like at the end of the movie. Okay, I was real confused about certain
like,
parts of
what
it.
now?
Like,
You don't need that walker, dude. Let it go,
Yeah.
bro.
I don't know.
so I was having
Hold on.
some trouble.
Wasn't Carl like 5 when that dude
Oh,
was
Oh,
like
yeah,
that's a whole
there
30
issue.
or 40?
There
Yeah.
are definitely
How's
some
he still alive?
inconsistencies.
Andre and I had like literally the longest conversation about that. 'Cause we were
We
so
were trying
confused.
to figure out their ages, and I was like,
Yeah.
was he? I mean, he could have been like 20. He getting on that plane. No, he still would be 90. Like,
Right.
Yeah, so there's definitely disbelief that you have to
It's
suspend.
Have you guys ever seen that meme where it's like a bunch of like scientists on ladders trying to solve like a chalkboard math problem or something?
Oh my
And that's
gosh.
how I feel
The
trying to
math.
solve Muntz's age and
Yeah,
then see how the heck he's
right?
still alive. He probably talks a lot to the guy from Star Trek.
Which
You
guy
know.
from Star Trek?
Spock? No, the main dude, the bald guy, Professor X.
Oh.
Oh.
Probably talks to him a lot and then shares his age potions and stuff.
age,
It's
age
Age potions.
Oh God, I can't. I'm done.
Okay, so let's.
All right. Well,
Let's begin. So the movie starts out with like a film reel
Yeah, I didn't remember that part
I
at all.
didn't remember
Right.
that
At all.
either.
starring Charles Muntz, a man who was an explorer, and he takes his big old blimp and he goes and finds rare creatures and weird stuff and
Weird
brings
stuff.
it back and he brought back a skeleton of a particular weird creature. And people were like, "That thing ain't real. You're fake. You're fake, Charles Muntz." And he's like, "I'll show you." And he takes his big blimp and he goes off to Paradise Falls and says, "I'll come back when I got my new weird creature. And I won't come back before then."
But the best part about this movie reel scene is we're introduced to Child Carl Fredrickson,
Child Carl.
who is wearing these big old goggles and this aviator hat, watching it like it's the coolest thing in the world. Like
got
he's
big old
Indiana
goggles.
Jones, ready? He's like ready to go on an adventure.
He's got
basically.
his glasses and his goggles.
Yeah.
You know?
That guy's got the squarest jaw I've
He's
ever
got the
seen.
squarest everything.
I mean, if he got in a fight as a kid and somebody tried to chin check him, they'd slice their hand open. That's how
So,
square his jaw is.
fun fact:
Yeah, he's very square.
all of the characters in this movie, I read this, are based on shapes. So Carl is like squares.
Ellie's like a circle.
Ellie's
for sure.
circles, Russell circles, the dog is circles, and all the villains are triangles. So Alpha's a triangle,
Yeah.
and Muntz is a triangle.
Oh,
Yeah, everybody's circles, squares, and triangles. And I think
no,
There's-
he's for sure a square.
there's a picture of Ellie and Carl like together,
Mm-hmm.
and the frame is like a circle and a square.
How funny.
Man,
Okay.
somebody really hated geometry in high school.
Well, what
Either
the heck
that
is,
or loved it.
Yeah,
what
I
the hell
loved
is Kevin?
it. Kevin, I think he's circles, right? He's like a big. He's
But
like
his
know
a
beak
what?
is
round
really
body.
long, like a
I think-
triangle.
I think Kevin is a parabola.
Parabola?
That's. I mean, do you know what a parabola is?
Isn't that like the
yeah,
wavy one?
yeah.
Yeah, I know what a parabola is.
Look at him making like nasty faces at me. I was just wondering.
I also know
He knows what a parabola is.
that
It's not a shape.
He hangs out with the math teachers. Don't discredit him.
Does
Actually,
he hang
I
out
do.
with the math
I
teachers?
actually, well,
Does he?
he's a calculus/physics guy,
Oh.
so he may know some math.
He
Get
probably
out
Okay,
of here. I'm
okay.
done
At least a
with
little
you.
bit of math.
But yes, they're very angular or very
Round.
round.
Rotund.
Rotund.
Or
Don't say
squares.
rotund. I don't like that word. Rotund.
You know what? You want to know another word you probably won't like? Bombus. Because
Bombus?
Who's
Carl's
That's like
nose
bulbous.
Oh.
is
Bulbous.
bombus and bulbus.
It's
bulbous,
bulbous.
bulbous, and rotund.
Yeah.
Look at that nose.
He has like one of those noses that the Dr. Pimple Popper loves to have.
Oh,
Dr.
no.
Pimple Popper.
Oh no.
Just
She
saying.
always watching Dr.
Okay,
Pimple
moving
Popper
on.
videos.
So Kid Carl, then
Leaves the movie.
we find out that
Yes.
he's very quiet. He's like a very he's just a quiet kid or a
Soft-
quiet
soft-spoken
person.
kid.
Soft spoken, yes.
Mhm.
He's he's like walking down the street
He's
and
adventuring.
the movie reel like stuff is playing, so it's like he leaps over the Grand Canyon. I thought that was so cute.
And he jumps over a little crack in the road.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
He jumps over the mountain and he slams into it. He goes around the mountain. Very funny.
So
It's
funny.
very
Very cute.
And so then he overhears this child, in an abandoned house, just like so loud,
Living it up. Somebody else
going on
having
an
an
adventure. Apparently, she has a club and she's the only one in it, but you know, still makes a club.
So he makes his way in there, finds her, and she 100% rocks his little socks
Oh
off.
yeah.
Like, she tells him which way is up. Hi,
Yeah,
I'm
they're
Ellie. Don't care anything about you.
Definitely
You're
like
in my club.
opposite personality spectrum.
Do what I say. Listen
She's-
to me.
She's the best 6-year-old or however old they are.
I'm
like,
gonna break your arm.
Yes. I'm telling you right now everything about the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So funny.
And pretty much from then on, it's like,
They're inseparable.
yeah,
Yes.
she like breaks into his room, like sends him his little balloon.
Well,
back
first of
and-
all, the best part of the childhood thing, which is the most important, is she accepts him into the club, and then
Mhm.
she gives him a little
Grape soda pin.
grape soda pin. So
very
cute.
cute.
Which I think is cute.
I read a fun fact about the grape soda pin. Apparently, it shows up in Toy Story, like the original Toy Story. And I have since forgotten where or why it was in Toy Story. Oh wait, here he goes. Carl wears the same grape soda pin that was featured in the Buzz Lightyear commercial in Toy Story.
Ah,
Interesting.
Yeah,
grape
that out.
soda.
pin.
Na, 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 na.
I have that grape soda pin. That
Grape
was one of the
soda.
very, very first Disney pins I ever bought.
Yeah, that one's cute because it looks just like it. It's not
Right.
like a pin of it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
just
a-
like
it
that
is-
actual
it is the
thing.
pin.
Yeah.
Like a bottle cap with a. With
It
a,
is super cute.
A sticky
You're
Clothespin.
right. I never thought it was weird
Little
that
sticky thing.
Yeah, clothespin.
I didn't think it was that weird that she just like went into his room after he broke his arm, but she's just like, "Hey, all right, I'm here now." We're
Well,
gonna party."
she does she break the window?
No.
No,
The window's
open.
She sends in a balloon.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Well, and it's so funny though too because like if you're watching it from a whimsical perspective, it's really cute. But then like if you really look at her, like she's a very disheveled child. She's never wearing any shoes.
No.
Like
No.
I wonder like.
She's dirty. Her hair is a mess.
Okay, that sounds really bad, but she's definitely oaky because when they get they get married, right?
I wasn't gonna say that word, but okay.
Okay, well, I will because my family's oaky, so I'll say it. But, you know, eventually we find out she's like, I like you. And then it flashes to them getting married. And after they kiss, she looks at her side of the family and they're like hooting and hollering, like, woo, 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 woo. And then it goes to his side of the family and they're sitting there so quietly.
And
Just
there's
like,
so much less people on,
nobody's
on Carl's
smiling,
side.
They're all
everybody's
just like,
barely clapping. And I was like,
congratulations,
oh,
Carl.
I guess that's how my grandma must have felt when my dad married my mom. I don't know.
That's
very, very
hilarious.
opposite families, but also hilarious. I love it.
Yeah. So, So as soon as she accepts him as, I like you, then they proceed to spend their entire lives together, and it shows that in montage with lovely music by the one and only Michael Giacchino.
Which, fun fact, Andre and I debated walking down the aisle to this song,
That's
but
true.
we didn't because it was kind of too slow.
Yeah, it's a little slow
A little too slow.
for an aisle walk.
Mhm.
You know, you gotta have put a little pep in your step.
Put a little pep in
Put a
your
little
A little
pep.
pep.
Put a little pep in there.
So we go through the scene that we've been talking about, the sad scene. We're not going to talk about it because we don't need to
We're
talk
not
about
gonna
it.
talk
We're
about
going
just
to
gonna
talk
move
about
on.
it. It's the most iconic scene in this whole movie.
It doesn't matter though.
Pixar wants to hit you with a montage like Pixar does best.
I would like
I
not
think
to catch
I think
feels.
of this 10 minutes as like Pixar took one of their Pixar shorts animators and was like, all right, make this 10 minutes of the movie the most legit Pixar short you've ever seen. And
So it's like riding a roller coaster. Because
yeah,
at first
wave
it's
of emotion.
cute as crap, okay? Right? We're going through.
They get
we're married.
married.
We got a house.
He builds
We're-
her the little up house out of the adventure book.
Exactly.
So cute. He
We're-
paints it like
Oh
that.
yeah, they buy
We're
the
painting.
abandoned house.
We're doing all of this stuff. Hey, guess what? Maybe we should save up for some stuff. Let's do all this. Let's go have picnics. Let's look up in the sky at the clouds. Oh wait, there's a bunch of babies in the clouds. Let's start planning to have a baby. It's cute. It's cute. It's cute. It's cute. They go to the doctor.
They
and
can't have a
She
baby.
can't have a baby.
It's not looking good. They're kind of sad. They're kind of moping.
And then he's so sweet, and he shows her the adventure book, and it's like, well, let's just focus on going to Paradise Falls.
And we
she's
can
like,
still have adventures.
yeah, and she's like, nice. So then they start this jar, and they put a bunch of money in
It's
it.
cute again.
And then the tires pop, and they have to break the jar. And then another thing happens, and they gotta break the
roof.
jar. And
No,
I kept telling
the
Andre,
freaking
I
When the
was,
tree hit the roof.
Oh my!
I kept telling
Luis and I
Andre,
looked at each other like, shh.
I was all,
Louise.
oh, this is real life now. Real life
Word.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why you don't buy a house. Just
And
let
then
your,
they're just
Yes.
growing
rent-
older. You know, they're still going on their little hill picnics,
Mhm.
but they just kind of forget about the jar. Like it gets pushed aside just because
Right.
they're doing other things.
Jar gets put
you
up
know?
on the shelf. You know, they're not
But
saving as much.
But then they start slowing down.
Yeah, start
Yeah,
getting
because they're
slow.
getting old,
And Ellie
Starts getting hard to go to on the
can't get up
picnic.
the-
Can't get up the hill.
which is super sad.
And that was that was right after he rediscovered the adventure book and be like, you know what? Maybe I'll just buy us tickets to go to
Yeah.
Venezuela. or
Venezuela.
whatever.
And then okay, he just bought her the tickets to Venezuela, but then she died.
Then she got sick and then she died. But
And then
yes.
so Andre and I were having a debate. Like, did he ever tell her that he bought her those tickets?
Because basically he buys the tickets and then
She
she's
gets sick.
Yeah.
Like
sick
he's
and
gonna
is
show
in the
her them
hospital.
at the picnic, and then she gets sick. So
Right.
I'm like, did he ever tell her? I don't know, because later when when he's in the house, you can see he put like the 2 tickets
Yeah.
up on the shelf. I'm like, did he
I like,
tell her?
I like
don't
to think
know.
that he did.
Yeah.
Like, hey, as soon as you get out of here, we're gonna
Like
go
that's a
on
good
that trip.
motivator to go.
Yeah, some hope in the hospital.
Well, and I think that's
whatnot.
kind of why she gave him the book. Like, here you go. Okay, moving on. I don't like
So
it.
then, after
Ugh.
after she passes,
I thought we weren't going to talk
he
about that.
the movie the montage ends and
Thank
the movie begins.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Like the montage ends, and then we get storyline, I guess.
Yeah, so basically 60 years has passed or whatever.
Yeah.
He's nice.
Yeah,
and
we
old
were
now.
trying to figure out how old he is. Like he's pretty old. He has a cane, so I'm assuming he's pretty old.
I was thinking he was in his 70s or 80s.
Yeah, I would say
Andre,
70s or
and he has a
80s.
hearing aid. So Andre thinks he's like 75, 80.
Yeah. Carl.
Which makes Charles Muntz like 145.
Yeah, that dude is Dumbledore age. Okay, he is so old. Oh
So
my
old.
goodness
900
gracious.
and something.
Yeah. He's like Yoda. He's just living
He's
on
like Yoda.
through the power of his dogs.
So through to space and time, the house has stayed intact and
Mhm.
it's still lovely,
And
but
it's in wonderful condition.
it's really stood the test of time. But everything around him has become commercialized
Yes.
and
The whole city has been built around his little neighborhood.
yes. So the contractors are trying to like eminent domain his house, like they
Mhm.
want it,
Yeah.
and he's like, no, I'm not going to sell it.
Mhm.
And something kind of tragic happens. I
Yeah.
feel like in the moment you feel for Carl because he just wants his property to stay exactly the same.
Right.
And one of the construction guys that's building around him backs his truck into
His mailbox.
His
and
mailbox.
Ellie's mailbox.
yes,
Which he
which he's very protective
he
over.
after Ellie is gone, he talks to the house as if Ellie is there, you know?
Which
and
is
everything
totally
is our.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, everything's our. He still talks to her picture, which I feel like
He
makes
like
sense.
rests
You know
his
what I
hand
mean?
on her handprint that's on the
Mhm.
mailbox, and it's very sweet old man stuff. And so
And
when
I'm
they hit that
assuming-
mailbox, he
Yeah.
is livid.
And I'm assuming it's probably been like 6 months since she passed. Like I don't think it's been that long. You think it's been longer?
I think it's been longer than
Been a little
that.
bit
I want
while.
to say at least a couple years.
Yeah,
think
like
so?
I would think that she passes and so he's alone. And then they begin building all this
I don't
nonsense
think you
around
get that
him.
curmudgeon-y that fast.
Right,
Curmudgeon-y.
He didn't seem to be curmudgeon with her.
right.
So
When he was
I
with her,
think
he was happy. He was handing out balloons at the zoo and stuff
being
like
very
that.
precious.
Yeah.
So when this gentleman runs into the mailbox, he kind of loses it for a second, and he ends up hitting the gentleman over the head with
his walker.
with his
Like,
walker,
Man, you
which
ever
he
get-
doesn't really
cracks
do it on
his head
purpose.
open.
It doesn't look like.
No.
Like it's just like he's swinging it like get back, get
Right.
back, and he hits
And he
the
hits him,
gentleman
yeah.
and makes him bleed, and he pretty much has to go to court. Like
some hard tennis balls.
yeah,
But I literally was crying so hard because I was like, how could they treat an old man that way? Because
Well, they make him
old
seem
man
like a-
committed assault.
yeah, I mean
technically.
he assaulted someone.
yeah,
So-
but did he? I don't know.
Well,
It's hard.
Well, from the viewpoint of other people, they're gonna say it's aggravated assault.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, from his point of view, he was just protecting what was his. So he actually gets labeled as a public
menace.
menace.
Right.
And so he's pretty much like shipped off or attemptedly shipped off
They're
to
gonna like force him to go to the Shady
the
Oaks Retirement Center.
the retirement.
He's like, not
center.
today.
It's shady.
Okay, and then this is where suspension of disbelief
This
begins.
is where it just gets freaking weird.
So at this point, he gets dropped off at I want to say 7 p.m. the night before he's supposed to go to Shady Oaks, and between
So he can't even pack up his stuff. I don't think he has anybody.
yeah, 'cause,
no,
you know, he never
they're
had kids,
expecting him
they're-
to go in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's gonna pack one bag, and then I guess they're gonna auction off the rest of the stuff. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they're gonna get rid of all of his belongings. So between 7 p.m. and let's give him 10 a.m. the next morning, he rigs up his entire house
Yes.
to be able to fly.
Suspension.
The house.
The house.
First of all, where did he get all the balloons? And second of all,
he's a balloon salesman.
yes, I'm aware
So
he's a
he
balloon
wrangled
salesman.
together the stat that I read was 10,000 balloons.
I read, yes, 10,286 balloons
Mm-hmm.
attached to this house. But Pixar actually calculated that it would take 25 million balloons
Yeah.
to lift the house. I feel like that's not even accurate.
Right.
Because
Like,
Luis and I kept saying, like, how many balloons? Like,
And
how many?
And
It's a
my
house.
thing that was hard
It's
is
a
like,
two-story, old,
two-story.
freaking full of old people crap.
Yeah.
Think about old people's furniture. It's
Oh,
so much
it's
heavier.
so heavy because it's so old. Oh my god!
That is solid wood in
They don't
every
have
piece of
lightweight
furniture.
materials in that
And
house.
how did he
There's
fit?
nothing from IKEA here.
How did he fit all of those balloons in the fireplace?
So he put all those balloons in the fireplace. He used what I have to assume is hundreds of pounds of helium to inflate them all. He tied up the strings. He attached them all to the fireplace. He created sails that popped out of the windows,
Which was fantastic.
which was very funny. And then what else did he do?
And he rigged like the weather vane to like be able to
Right.
steer the house
Yes.
with the sails.
And he
And
packed
it's-
his bag in the
And
morning.
packed his bag.
Although maybe he'd give him an empty suitcase or something. I don't know. But so the Shady Oaks guys come in and they're like, okay, crazy old man. He's probably just going to say goodbye to his house one more time. They're being very rude.
They're being very
Oh, they
rude.
said he's going to go to the
He's gonna go to the
bathroom for the
bathroom.
18th time.
They're
For the
so
80th time.
rude.
All right, y'all, you work at an old folks home. You should be a little bit more respectful of the elders. But
Yep, so lo and behold, his balloon house is in the air.
yeah, so not only do the balloons pick up the entire house, but the house stays intact as he picks it up. I read a stat.
There's like no cement. Like it wasn't connected to the floor. I guess.
Yeah, I
it was
guess.
a modular.
Yeah, it's a modular. It's just sat right on top
Modular.
of the ground.
Can't use the bathroom now.
I read a thing that said like, yeah, Disney brought in an architect to make sure that the house taking off seemed believable. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess one baseboard broke off of the bottom of the house and the whole thing just stayed together as balloons lifted it from one central
Would have been more
location.
believable if they had like panned down to the ground and you'd seen like a bunch of opossums or something like,
Like, I think it would have been
my home.
even slightly more believable if he had balloons coming out of every window of the house or
Yes.
something like that, you know, instead of all just out of the chimney.
It has to look nice, okay?
Yeah.
I know. Aesthetically, it's gorgeous, but it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, you know.
It doesn't. And honestly, it's just fun and whimsy and it's not supposed to.
Right.
And, so that's where it is. But the problem is that he accidentally stole a kid.
That's right. Oh yeah, we forgot about Russell.
It doesn't even matter. He totally like kidnaps accidentally.
Mr. Fredrickson
So Russell the adventurer.
found a snipe.
What does he have to do?
He has to get the snipe
No. Russell
Assist the
he's-
elderly.
Yes, he's earning his assisting the elderly badge.
because he's a
Wilderness explorer.
Wilderness
He's in the Wilderness
Explorer.
Explorer.
So pretty much he's a
He's
Boy Scout.
Boy
Mhm.
Scout, and he needs to get his last badge, and so he goes to the only old person he can find. And of course, it's
Mr.
Carl.
Fredrickson.
Hello,
And
my name is Russell.
He's reading from the book.
And Carl thinks he's so funny because he like sends him off on a
Mhm.
literal wild snipe chase.
Yeah.
And he comes back thinking he found it, but he ends up getting whisked away to Venezuela.
Yeah, so what's that? Carl is like just happily flying his house, and he hears a knock on the door.
It's like super
He's
confused.
like, what's happening? He goes outside. He sees Russell cowering in the corner, and Russell's like, "Mr. Fredrickson, can you let me in, please?" And Carl goes like, "No," and then he closes the door.
Then he opens it again and lets him in. But
But the
Yeah.
fact that he even closes is so funny to me. Nah, dude.
he's curmudgeon-y.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Extra
He just
curmudgeon-y.
wanted to sit in his chair and float.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted to do.
Have some peace.
Sit in
Finally.
his chair.
So then they start. They're flying towards Venezuela. They're just going
Just
south.
heading south.
And
Oh my gosh, wait. The funniest part is that he imagines they like go across a city and he imagines himself like lowering Russell to the ground. And I thought it was happening, right? And then he falls.
He drops
And
it.
I was like and then it like shoots to him like imagining it. He's like, no.
I guess I
That
can't
is
do
funny.
that.
So funny.
But it's weird because the way that it passes, like and maybe it was just supposed to be like, you already have this floating house, like you just let it be.
Right.
Just let this whole whimsical thing be.
Sure.
But like they did any explanation of a passage of time. So
Right.
like I
No.
looked at Luis and I was like, did they just get to Venezuela in like 3 hours? Like it felt like they
yeah,
just
like they just popped up into
It
the sky.
felt like
Boom,
that.
you're in Venezuela.
Like I know they hit the storm.
Yes.
Yes.
He ties down all of his stuff because it's flying everywhere. Then I'm assuming he just kind of passes out because he's
Falls
super
asleep.
tired.
Yeah.
And I don't
and
know
even
how.
if you sleep for like 8 hours though.
Yeah.
That's not enough time.
So I
to
don't know
hot
how
air balloon
long
your way
he
to
was
Venezuela.
asleep for because Russell says like you were asleep a long time, but we're in Venezuela because they like stop moving,
Yes.
right? And he's just like, well, how do you know we're in Venezuela? I can't see anything. And he's like, it's definitely South America because I got a compass.
Yeah.
He's
And
got
it
his
says
GPS.
so.
I
Oh
don't-
yeah, it's GPS.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever owned a balloon for more than 12 hours, but the helium starts to pop out of that thing almost immediately. It starts sinking down and not holding its weight any longer. Like, I can't imagine them flying this thing.
Especially because they're Mylar. They're not even like
Right, they're
the
just
foil
regular
ones,
balloons.
which I have a lot of foil balloons in my house right now, and I'm looking
Yeah.
at them, and even they kind of, you could see where the air is coming out. But
Mhm.
Mylar balloons, like, man,
Yeah, immediately.
those guys are, especially with the atmosphere.
Oh
Can you
my
imagine?
goodness. Yeah.
A storm?
Can you imagine just one bird flying through your pile of balloons? One beak hitting
Oh my
500
gosh.
balloons? You're done. You're sunk.
Oh my
It's over for you.
So they make it
But they make
very
it to
quickly.
Venezuela, yeah.
They start lowering themselves by, what do? They start popping a couple or
He
letting
pops
a
a
couple
couple.
go?
Yes.
So they make it down to like ground level, and pretty much like they're really lucky. They get relatively close to Paradise Falls.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, if you think about like one ravine to another, they're just on the far side of
They're
the
on
ravine.
the other side, yeah.
So Carl's idea is to then walk the house.
Right, yeah. So they're on the ground, and the house is still floating above them, and Carl has attached his hose from the house to his back, and Russell has
First
like a
of
little
all,
string
too,
attached to it or
Carl
whatever.
like fell out of that house hardcore, and he's still kicking. So I don't know. There's a lot of things happening.
He's a sturdy old man, you know?
Yeah, and that's why I don't understand why he has a walker. Like, you do not need that walker, dude. That walker needs you.
He sold
So-
balloons for his entire life. He's a hard dude.
I
Yeah,
guess.
so he's very upset. But he's happy they're at Paradise Falls, but he's very upset that he's across from it and not like on it. Because I think in his mind he was just gonna lower it like right to where he needed to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just
Right
gonna,
to where Ellie had it in her imagination.
he's
in
just
her
gonna
picture.
walk
Right.
it over, and Russell's stuck with him, so he gets to assist the elderly.
Yeah, so he's like, okay, well, come on. It'll only take a couple days. Let's get over there. And they
Yeah,
start
3 days.
So they start walking, and at this point, this is where I really was like, what in the world storyline is going to happen
Right.
after
Like,
this? I was so confused.
where's this going?
Like, because they get there relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're
here already.
Well,
Okay.
I was confused because when they first get to Paradise Falls, like it looks all green and lush below them,
Yes.
but they're like at the top of a cliff where it's just rock.
yes.
So when they start walking into the like quote unquote
Agreed.
paradise, I'm confused as to like how all of that jungle is up there when it looks like it was all below.
Well, and the fact that every time they look off, they pan off to the left where like the rock is. There's no jungly areas over
No.
there.
Right.
No.
So it's kinda
I guess they're
confusing.
like, I want to say they're like dipping in and out of like
Yeah, maybe.
hilly areas and dipping into the jungle and back out of it or something like that. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure.
So relatively close to this, we get introduced to Luis's favorite character, which I think is very bizarre. He is so excited. Look at him. He just picked up his microphone.
I don't know why. Kevin's awesome.
His name is Kevin.
His name is Kevin, which is a human name, first of all. Russell.
So Russell, the kid,
He has to go to the bathroom,
has to go potty.
so he gets his shovel and his
Am I supposed to dig the hole first or after?
Yeah, Russell's got some great
It's
one-liners.
before.
So while he's there, he thinks he sees the snipe because he sees like footprints, and he's walking over to the snipe, quote unquote, and is like trying to get it to come out with chocolate. But Kevin, whatever this bird is called, they didn't really tell us the name of the bird. But
Exotics.
it's
The
snipe.
huge. It is very tall.
Very
Like,
large.
I'm assuming it's as tall as like Big Bird. Like,
It is 13 feet tall.
That's about as tall as Big Bird, right?
I don't know. Big Bird is
I thought he was
13
like
feet. He's like
6 or
7. 7
Okay,
foot 2
well-
or whatever.
7'2",
Kevin is very tall,
Kevin
and he
is very
likes
tall.
chocolate.
and he's ostrichy.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he's like an ostrich, parrot,
he's
toucan.
an ostrich, a toucan,
Mhm.
and I think there's one other bird whose name I don't know. And also he has like peacock feathers on top
Yes.
of his
Yeah,
head.
peacock.
Yeah, her head. Excuse me.
That's
yeah,
true. So-
twist for later.
Kevin's a girl.
So when we start, Kevin's a boy. Kevin ends up being a girl.
Yeah.
But Kevin finds Russell, really. And I wonder if it's because we find out that Kevin is a mom
Yes.
bird. So maybe he feels like this is an abandoned mom thing or
Yes.
kid thing.
Yeah, I gotta be maternal to these.
Well, and the
two.
bird was hiding from
This
the
odd couple.
dogs, right?
Right. But then Kevin like pretty much stays around Russell after
Yeah, he
that.
likes the
Yeah.
chocolate.
I think I made a note that early on you see the dogs, Muntz's dogs, like chasing Kevin, and Kevin is basically the road runner. Homie is
For
going
real.
very fast, and the dogs
Yeah.
are not keeping up at all. They're wildly coyoteing all over the place.
And we're assuming Kevin's just on a trek to go get some food for
yes,
her
he's
babies.
gathering food
Yes.
for her babies.
So she ends up staying with Carl and Russell for what seems like quite a bit of
Yeah.
time. And he totally is like, I'm adopting this bird. This bird is mine.
Can we
Can we
keep
keep him?
and
Freaking
Carl is not
Carl's
about
like,
it.
shoot.
Not about it
Oh, yeah.
whatsoever. But yeah, so we get introduced to the dogs, and I had already put 2 and 2 together because I remembered a little bit from
Mhm.
the last time I'd watched this, but I thought it was so bizarre that there were these talking dogs. And I still think it's bizarre. Like, I'm thinking too hard about it, but
Mhm.
like, so is it like cognitively taking what the dog is thinking and saying it, or is it like some kind of like this is what should be said in this particular?
Because
It was like cognitive.
the dogs they bark. They bark like dogs.
Yes.
Because they are dogs, and they bark, and it sounds like a bark. But the rest of the time, when they're communicating with each other,
Their lips aren't moving.
their mouths aren't moving. They're looking at each other, and words are coming out of their collars.
Yes.
So I don't know if most
But
dog
if you think
communication is just
about-
through their eyes or what. But
Well, I-
That's what I'm saying.
I
It's
think
so
it's
weird.
like body language and smells and gestures, things
Sure.
like that. Because if you think about dogs at a dog park, they're talking to each other. We just don't know what they're saying, and most of the time
Right.
they're not
They're
barking.
not always
That's
barking. at
true.
each
You might
other.
hear a growl. every
Yeah.
now and then, like a stop it. But
Where's Kevin? He's on the roof.
I love Doug.
So
Very good.
ridiculous.
Doug is so cute.
So all of the dogs that we meet are pretty vicious. They're all pretty intense dogs.
Right.
There's not like any chihuahuas.
Yeah.
But then there's Doug, who is like a mix between a Labrador and like a golden retriever.
Yeah.
And
He's
just
just
gonna
like
throw it out
he's
there.
a good boy.
Good boy.
He's so
Very
fat.
good boy. He's not intimidating.
He's not menacing.
at all.
No, and the other dogs don't like him because he never.
He doesn't
don't
contribute.
Guess he doesn't contribute to finding the bird.
So that's also bizarre for me. But whatever. So
Right.
but their number one thing is to catch the bird.
Well, it's
And so
yeah.
pretty quickly I feel like maybe as a kid you wouldn't catch it, but like as an adult I was like, well, obviously they're looking for Kevin.
Right.
And that's the bird that he never got, and that's what they want.
Oh, please be my prisoner. Please be my prisoner. Please be my prisoner.
And then that's kind of where and then the dogs take them back to Charles Muntz.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, they're just trying to make their way to the other side of the canyon or whatever, and then
See, I
Doug
think that's
shows
why
up.
the plot's a little muddy.
Right.
Because it's not really.
Yeah, step by
I
step,
don't
it doesn't make too much sense because like why? Oh, right, because I think at one point Kevin runs off, and I think Russell wants to go save Kevin, and so Carl has to go because
he's belabored
because he's
with these-
responsible for Russell at this point. He can't just leave a kid out in the jungle or whatever.
I mean, he only like kidnapped him and took him to Valenzuela.
Yeah,
It doesn't
so
matter.
He's got to get back to his mom or whatever. So
I just said Valenzuelans.
That's definitely not what happened.
Oh,
Well,
well,
what
what
happened?
happened?
Okay, so
See, we only watched it last night.
Right.
Tell us.
Kevin and Doug are both there now,
Mm-hmm.
and they go to sleep, right? And they wake up, and they're like, "Where's Kevin?" And Doug's like, "He's on the roof." And they see him, and Kevin is gathering all of this food because she's gonna take
Oh,
all the food back to her
yeah.
babies.
Right.
Remember?
Yes.
So then she's like, "Peace out," and she goes back to her babies, but the dogs start chasing her. So she goes back to the house, hides on the roof of the house. So when the dogs come, they only see Doug and the small mailman and the old man.
Mailman.
And so they're asking Doug, like, why don't you have the bird? Because they saw the bird on his communication
Yeah.
come
collar
back
thing.
tomorrow. I'll definitely have the bird
Yeah,
tomorrow.
come back tomorrow. So he's like, no, we're taking you all
You're
in
right,
now.
you're right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's what happened.
So they're
Thank
taken
you.
prisoner by a couple of dogs.
Yeah, they were taken prisoner, and they were really mad that Doug already lost the bird. And the bird did run away because it was going to go back to the kids. But because the dogs were chasing it, he was like, ooh, I'm going to hide on this roof because this looks like a good hiding spot.
Correct.
Because the
So-
dogs can't get up
Yes.
there, really, you know?
So then, well, because the house is still floating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Carl
It's-
and Russell can't even get in the
It's
house.
still like 30 feet up into the air.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So
However long his hose is.
so then they start making their way towards Charles Muntz because they're now all prisoners,
Mm-hmm.
and they go through ravines and things. They're taking the house, and then we find Charles Muntz being
Literally so
literally
weird.
less old than Carl. It feels
Yeah.
like.
Like what in the world? He looks like he's 55. He's
I'll
spry.
give you 65, but
Sure.
still like barely getting the senior.
Yeah, and
like,
Andre and I were
discounts.
We both were just like, wait, what? How is he that old?
So-
you know what I mean? And he has so many dogs because all of his dogs have been breeding with each other. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Except I didn't see one girl dog.
Well, you know, you can't tell just from looking. They didn't put a lot of
The ones that were talking
they didn't
weren't
put a
girls.
lot of anatomical stuff on the dogs.
Still.
And maybe Charles Muntz is just kind of a sexist and just put male voices on all the dogs.
Oh no!
Which would be funny. But Charles Muntz is obviously not only an explorer and adventurer, but he's also some kind of crazy genius engineer.
Well, this is where we need to pause because this is where I get really angry. Like, I was thinking about it before this, but once we get to this point, I'm like, what in the freaking world? He's been out in the middle of really like the jungle for a majority of his life.
50 plus years at least.
And at no point did it have anything to do with technology? He was just
No.
out there to find this bird.
Yes.
So, like, how did he come up with all this stuff to have these dogs literally doing everything for him? They're cooking,
Yep.
they're cleaning,
Yep.
they're freaking opening champagne or wine or something.
I don't know where he
They
got
pop
all.
the champagne and they like spill it all over the glass.
Well, I don't know where he got all the gasoline to run his blimp, and
Like, what
Yeah.
is this?
Like he took a single blimp down to Venezuela, promised he would never come back until he got the bird. Yeah, so I assume he kept his word on at least that part. But he just has been making his way down there in the same jacket for for decades.
You know, it's a good looking jacket. But I don't understand the collars. Like, it just, at this point, it was really killing me because it's taking the dogs beyond just like that cognitive thought. And now they're like people.
They're hyper trained.
Yeah.
They are
What do you mean
super
the dog
dogs.
makes cherry cobbler or something? What is
They serve them like this is a fun fact. The dogs serve them scallops, and the scallops are from Ratatouille. Like it's the same exact
Yes.
same exact
And a hot
recipe or
dog.
whatever, and a hot dog which they eat.
Where did they get
keep
the
stealing it from
scallops?
Russell.
Where? Where?
You know, Venezuela's got.
They're not even near
and
the
that's why I
ocean.
said these are the
River
reasons
scallops.
why I'm confused as to why I loved this movie so much. But then I remember, I only paid attention to the Carl and Ellie stuff. Like the rest of the movie, I think I shut out because all of these issues are arising upon this watching that I didn't have in 2009 when I was in high school. You know, but 10 years later, I don't understand what's happening. So
I'm not saying it's not cute. 'Cause
It's really
funny.
fun
it
and it's
is,
cute and
but
it's
it
silly.
doesn't make
the world?
sense.
But it really does not make a lot of sense.
Like, you know what made more sense? Dinosaurs farming. Okay, made more sense than these dogs.
Or that Muntz has
Dinosaurs farming.
that Muntz has bred hundreds of dogs and given them all highly advanced talking collars and trained them to be butlers. He's got hundreds of dog butlers. They're also fighter pilots.
Oh, I don't
Hold
want
on,
to
no.
talk about
we
that.
Have to wait. We
We're
have to
not
wait for
there
that
yet.
because someone has someone has something to say about that.
Oh, okay.
But
The
we'll
fighter
wait.
pilot. All right, so then, anyways, this is where it starts getting weird because Carl realizes that Charles Muntz really is there to find apparently this monster bird, which he's like, oh crap, that's Kevin, and he's been nice to us and just been following us everywhere. And Russell, of course, he's a kid. He's like, that's my bird, Kevin, and I used him to get chocolate.
Right.
So he basically threatens to kill Carl, like right there.
100%.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, they're dead.
Well,
Like,
and he says like he doesn't say I have killed blah blah blah.
well, he has.
but
Right.
he's pretty much like I killed the
He's like,
surveyor.
oh, people come here and try to steal my bird all the time. And I don't let it happen. Look at all these heads that I have stacked up on my shelf over here.
Yeah, Andre was losing it. He was like, "Oh, jeez." Yeah,
he
so
has basically like heads on spikes. It's
Yeah.
like it's little helmets with goggles.
Yes.
and I
that
really
are
do
on
feel
mannequin
bad
heads, but-
because first of all, Carl wanted none of this stuff to happen, and it did. But then he's so excited when he meets his childhood and Ellie's hero, and now
he's like,
just-
oh gosh, it's Charles Muntz.
and it ruins it even more for him.
Yeah, don't meet your heroes because they'll turn out to be
seriously don't.
ageless psychopaths on a bird hunting mission.
So they very quickly realize they need to get the heck out of there because Kevin is on the roof still,
Right.
chilling, and he then kind of cacaws. I don't know what noise he makes. He's like,
Kevin.
it's a very annoying noise actually, but he makes she makes her Kevin noise, and then Carl and Russell run.
Yes.
And they take the house and they start trying to get away from these dogs. And surprisingly, this was one of the most it was a very dangerous,
it's an
intense sequence. Luis was like, "Oh no, Kevin, Russell, blah, Doug, blah!" Because there was so much going on.
Yeah. It's
Like,
anxiety inducing.
yeah, I mean, they were like almost running into cliffs and falling
a lot
off
of
of
dogs.
cliffs and. The dog Alpha jumps and bites onto Kevin's
Oh
leg.
yeah, we didn't talk about Alpha and his messed up collar.
I am Alpha. His tiny little squeaky voice.
He sounded like who did he sound like? He sounds like Yzma when she gets turned into the cat
Yes.
in Emperor's New Groove.
Yes.
Like it feels like the same exact voice.
Very much so. And it's funny because once the collar's fixed, he sounds like Darth Vader.
Yes, it's just deep voice alpha.
Well, and it's the way that he speaks. It's very like.
Yeah, he's like very eloquent for a dog.
Yes.
You know what I'm realizing with
Do
that?
not be laughing in this arena.
Yeah, with his little high pitched voice. And then I realized during the scene when Carl and all of them are running away that Carl's in way better shape than me, so it's fine.
Well, and that's the Indiana Jones part. Like,
Right.
what in
It's
the world?
not even true that it gets even better.
Sometimes you
know.
go on
True.
vacation and you just get like a little bit invigorated. You're just moving at a steadier clip
He is
than
not
you do in
taking
normal
his
life.
medicine, so there is no way.
Yeah,
Okay, I saw that medicine on his side table next to
yeah.
his chair.
it's crazy.
He ain't taking it.
Definitely got lost.
And then
during
the plot
storm.
line just gets crazier after that when Kevin gets hurt,
So yeah, so they jump over this ravine. They end up getting quote unquote getting away from the dogs and everything. But because Doug still has his tracker on, they are able
Right.
to find him in the blimp. And so you think very sweetly that Kevin's back with her babies and such.
Yeah,
Right.
they
And
help.
they're gonna go
they help
home.
take her home because she's hurt, and they want to get her there safely. Which Carl's
Which is
kind of
nice.
reluctantly like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think.
But so they get there, the blimp follows them, and immediately
Literally the
Muntz
worst.
turns into like the
Clayton.
villain. Clayton, exactly. He turns into a supervillain and like starts to burn down the house so that Carl will go and be distracted. He picks up Kevin, takes him, leaves them stranded,
Right.
and now
And this is
how
really
in the
hard.
world are they
And
ever
then
going
Russell's
to get out
mad
of
at
this?
Carl because he's like, you just let her go, like, to save your house. And
Right.
it's like, yeah, well, it was this house. And it was just, there were so many different ways you could feel about that situation that, okay, Pixar, we were getting a little crazy there, So basically after that, Carl is like pissed.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't want any of this. Like, whatever, I'm going to go take my house to Paradise Falls. You can assist me or not. So he gets to Paradise Falls and he puts his house down and they're there. But he's not, like, satisfied,
Right.
Because
He's
Of
got
all that's-
unfinished business.
unfinished business.
He's not a
got-
ghost yet, but he's got unfinished
he's got
business.
unfinished.
But he's not satisfied. He's happy that they're there and he's sad just about everything that's happened. And then
Well, the whole time we're watching this, I'm thinking to myself, like, what you gonna do once you get it there?
Right.
Like, you're on the
Just-
top
well,
of
I
the
just fully figured he was prepared to die there. Like, I don't know if he has any special skills.
Well, he obviously has some special
Oh, no, he has
skills.
special skills. But, like, no food, no
Right.
water. Well, I guess you could, like, get the falls.
Yeah,
But, like,
river water, dude.
no foliage. Like,
Yeah.
what? You're just gonna, like, I guess he was just gonna, like, get there and die.
Live out,
It's
live
a
out his
lot.
days. As
It's a lot.
an
I
old
was
man
hoping
in
like one
Venezuela.
day, not even like days, because this is like
Right, yeah.
starvation,
Just gonna sit in his chair and then
Well,
dying to sleep.
Yeah,
I'll tell you my theory when we're done talking about the whole movie.
Okay.
Then I'll tell you my theory. But basically, he's really sad, so he goes back in his house. He finds the adventure book, and then he looks through it like we've seen him look through it many times. But in the middle of the adventure book, it says, like, things I'm going to do. And he's assuming that she's never added to it, so he just never looks beyond that,
Mhm.
which she did. So then he sees all the pictures of them together and how happy they were, and he was like, oh. And then it says,
we already
like,
did all this.
and then I think when she died, she wrote, like, go have it. Thanks for this adventure. Now it's time to go have a new one or
Right.
something. And he was like, oh,
Oh, I shouldn't.
that's
be
what
living
I
in
was
the
supposed to do.
past.
Yeah.
So kind of that whole awakening thing. So then it's so funny. He, like, has, like, his self-actualization, and he gets, like, super chipper, and he tries to go find Russell to be like, okay, let's go save Kevin. And Russell just took some of the balloons in a freaking a leaf blower and runs away.
No.
Get that leaf blower.
No, floats away
He floats away.
on the leaf blower.
He flies.
He's like,
He's
if you're not
flying
gonna
away.
help me, I'm gonna go help Kevin.
Yeah,
Where did
it's
he get that
ingenious.
leaf blower?
And Luis, this is my favorite part out of all of this. Those leaf blowers have to be plugged into something. They're not. Shut
They're just
up.
abandoning it all.
Like, that's what you're worried about in this whole thing?
Gotta be plugged in.
There's
Dude.
a dog who's opening champagne.
Russell and the snake from Robin Hood both have the same methods of transportation. Just
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm taking some balloons. I'm getting gone. I'm surveying the area. I'm helicoptering my way around. It's amazing.
That actually was pretty funny. And the best part was is that he found the blimp ASAP.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
it's a pretty big blimp, you know.
no, but I mean, he flew straight up and was like, boom, there you are. It's been at least 10 hours and he found him
that's true.
immediately.
Yeah.
So Russell ends himself into the blimp. He like flies into it and one of the side windows pops open and immediately gets captured
Yeah.
by the dogs.
Yeah.
And Charles Muntz then very swiftly is about to like murder
Yeah.
a child.
You know what? Why not? I've
Boom.
Yeah,
in,
he
I've been
like
in the
ties him
jungle
to a
for
chair and it's
70
like
years.
sayonara. So Carl, his house won't float anymore, right? Because it's on the land. So he has to take everything out of his house.
Yeah.
Okay, Indiana
He
Jones.
dumps all of his possessions.
The chairs, the fridge, everything. I can't pick up a fridge by myself. That would never happen.
No.
So he just got super
You
strong.
ain't Carl.
Yeah, I guess I'm not Carl. But it was cute because their two chairs are there. You know, it's all fine and dandy and cute. So his house floats again, and it's just his house is moving so fast. He's like,
That's where it gets really weird too because you
It's
think
heavy
about
winds in Venezuela, okay?
it.
okay.
His house is like the most agile like fighter
It's a jet.
jet
It's
I've ever
zooming.
seen.
Mm-hmm.
So he's moving all around and
Then just the most epic Indiana Jones fight scene happens. I like to call him Indiana Jones, but I don't know if that's he's like a Tom Cruise type thing going on. I
Oh
don't
yeah, this
I'm
is
just
definitely
ready
some
for him to
Mission
like put
Impossible
some like
stuff.
black
know.
like black lines
Dun,
under
dun,
his
dun,
eyes.
dun, 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 dun. Carl pops his head.
He like he straps Russell's badges around his thing like a bandolier, like he's got bullets on that thing or something. Like, why did you put that on?
Well, and then he puts his walker in his back.
Like it's a sword.
Yeah, when he's fighting Charles Muntz, who has a sword with his walker, I was like, oh god, they like crack their backs.
Oh my god, yeah, old man fight. It's fantastic. They both can't they both can't swing on each other because their backs are bad.
He's trying to like
Even though
knock
Charles Muntz is an invincible being.
right? He's trying to like knock out his jaw and he spits out his teeth in his face.
Oh,
Like,
it's
oh
disgusting.
god. But this is the part where Luis was like, I was cool up until now.
Luis,
Lou.
you don't like the dogs flying the fighter cars? I mean the
cars?
fighter airplanes.
No, that was silly.
Is that all you got to say about that?
It was really silly, but it was also great because
It was Star Wars.
yes, it's
It
a
was
Star Wars.
Star
The
Wars.
dogs come out like red leader checking in, blue leader checking in.
Well, I like how they shoot the
Red
trigger
five
was
standing by.
biting on the
on
squeaky
the chew
bone.
toy, and they're just shooting like darts or whatever, right?
Yes. It was just so funny because Luis was just well now it's just too much. Like, oh god.
Wasn't too much when they flew the house to,
What do you
South
mean?
America.
Well, dogs can't fly planes. Well, they can't. Oh, okay. Nice to know.
Dogs can't fly planes. Oh, Luis, you're so smart.
Oh, I just couldn't. It was so funny.
It's silly
But
stuff.
yes, that was definitely Star Wars. I was like, okay.
Yes.
But it's fine. They have we're not going to go through this whole fight scene. But the point is that Charles Muntz fell off the blimp,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're okay.
It's very much like Clayton from Tarzan. Like
Oh,
he grabs his
100%.
gun, he's starting to shoot
Clayton.
stuff. Yeah. Clayton. And, and then he falls to his what I assume is his death, but I don't know with this dude. He might have hit the ground and got right back up.
But it's also sad because the house goes bye-bye.
Yes, the house also does not make it.
Let
But
it go.
We gotta let it go. But you know the best part about it is that Pixar wastes no time getting them straight back to wherever the hell they were.
Yeah.
And they are now in this like lodge ceremony for him to get his senior wilderness explorer.
that's right. They fly the blimp
You
back.
know, they try to give you some backstory about Russell and like his parents
Yeah.
and stuff, but I couldn't follow it all. Like some of it didn't make sense to me, but it is very nice that Carl gave him his button
Yeah.
with all the dogs in the audience. You know?
Yeah. So
My
they-
theory is that mom and dad were together, Russell's parents were together, and when they were together, his dad was really involved in his life, and then they got a divorce or they separated or whatever, and dad has a new wife, and he Phyllis, yeah. So when he calls over there, Phyllis is like, you're bugging your dad, like to keep Russell away, and he doesn't come to his stuff anymore. So he was expecting, like, that's why this badge was so important to him, was so that he could get his dad back
to come
or get his dad to come.
Yeah.
Because
But he
Luis
got
was like,
Carl.
why is he calling his mom by the first name? Just like Luis and Carl were on the same page. I was like, no,
Phyllis
that's new
isn't
wife.
my mom.
Phyllis is the new wife or the
That's
girlfriend.
not my mom.
So yeah, apparently this is the first time in a Disney movie where divorce has ever even been like hinted at. Like every other single parent is expected to have been like widowed in other
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
Although I never thought about that about like Andy's mom or whatever. I was like, where's Andy's dad? Where's that dude?
I don't
at?
think they're divorced. I think just dad just never
he's
see
just-
him.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is that before this is implied that they're all widows or widowers or whatever.
Yeah. No, Andy's dad ain't no.
He might be there. I don't know.
He's just at work. He's
If
at
he's
work
at
when
work,
Andy's playing with
that's an
toys.
issue.
You know?
I also really like
He doesn't take Andy to Pizza Planet.
I like that Carl has like a new sense of life, and and he kind of got a quote unquote grandchild type of thing through Russell, which is cute, and they go on all the adventures, and
They
he
get
shows
ice
them like
cream.
the picnic spot with Ellie. You know, it's really nice. It's nice that he could like focus on being there for a child.
He has something to live for.
Yeah, so that's super sweet. I love it. But my theory with this whole movie is that it didn't happen.
Dun dun.
He's
So not that he's dead necessarily, but that he's like imagining that it happens.
Like
So I highly think that all that stuff happened with the court or whatever. And then I think when they were going to
you
take
mean in
him,
courtroom A113?
yes, that,
aha.
that they were going to take him, but I think he was like either dreaming it or imagining it.
After he gets carted off to Shady Oaks, that they maybe.
And
drug him
maybe
up
he
and that
died
he-
in his sleep that night. I don't know. That's kind of sad
and
too,
that
but
maybe the Boy Scouts come visit the old folks' home, and Russell comes and talks to Carl, and then he has a little imagination get together.
something. Yeah, like I was trying to put a spin on it that my theory is that he like imagined that all this happened and was able to move on with his life. But
Maybe he
it's-
had a psychotic break and then thought that this would happen.
Word.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But, the movie happened. I'll just suspend my disbelief. But
Okay.
it's kind of hard to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
But it wasn't hard. You know why it's harder? Because it takes place like in
a
the real
realistic
world.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if it was like a place like Wall-E or like Good
Yeah.
Dinosaur, they're like these alternate universes where it's explained in itself that it's like fine.
Yeah.
But because this is in our world, that's why I was trying to think of it as like a maybe he imagined it type of thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But
But
Just
I think it's maybe slightly more silly than like Ratatouille, where a rat is controlling a human by his hair and cooking in a 5-star restaurant or whatever.
That bothered me less.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is a little bit more far fetched, but
Yeah.
it's the same kind of silly
Agreed.
adventure, Pixar-y thing.
yes, and I really like it. I'm just saying it's very silly.
Yeah.
But for a kid, they're probably like they don't have to suspend anything.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what
I don't think
It's, like,
before this
fine.
viewing that I ever thought about how
Yeah.
ridiculous it was.
Right.
No, I never thought about it. I was always like, oh, the Up House. Like I never really thought about it until you just got to watch them again when you're an adult. And, we're watching these movies with critical eyes because that's our job as being on this podcast,
Word.
But you just think about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I think I have a battle for us.
We
haven't done those in a while.
Dun dun dun. Up battle.
House battle.
House battle.
So we're going to pretend we're like on that TLC show where they show you a couple houses and you got to pick one.
Oh.
You ever seen those shows on TLC?
No.
No? Okay.
Go
I,
ahead.
I watch too many of those house shows only at the nail salon because that's what's on the TV. Maybe it's on HGTV. I don't know.
Anyway.
But where would you rather live? In the Up House. We're
Like-
going to
like in the
say
sky?
that it's floating in the sky.
Okay.
Yes. Or Elsa's Ice Castle.
Neither.
In Arendelle. Well, let me think.
Up House is cuter, much more my aesthetic.
Up
but
House
I
is
If
don't-
you
cute.
live in the Up House, Russell will be with you. If you're in the Ice Castle, you're alone. You have nobody.
Elsa's not there?
No, because you are Elsa.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Okay, then Elsa's Ice Castle because I couldn't handle Russell.
I can handle Russell. Me and Russell have fun. Russell's cool.
Yeah, you say that now.
Before he starts annoying me. But okay,
You're just gonna have to learn how to spear birds out of the sky.
So
you can eat
yeah,
them.
the up house. I'm in.
I'm afraid
the
of not
sky. I assume I have some food in the house,
You eat a lot.
but I eat a lot. Yeah, that food's not gonna last very long. However,
But you could have just always go to the ground, get some more helium. Fill up
I'm
your
actively
balloons.
flying this and can
Oh,
control.
I didn't know that we
it's
could like up or and down her.
Okay,
Well, I'm thinking I could. Like go down to the city, and
pick
come
up
back
some
up.
pick up some more balloons.
Oh, well,
string
then
'em
I
up.
could go down to Arendelle and get my food.
Mm.
I'll be.
Yeah, that's the thing
Yeah.
about the ice castle is that it's made of ice. Andre don't do the cold, so
No, Condre does not do
But
cold.
if you say that I am Elsa or I'm Andre with ice powers or whatever, and the cold
Well, I'm
never
not
bothered
saying
me
that
anyway.
you have ice powers.
So,
I'm saying that.
I
you
don't have ice
live-
powers.
No, you just live in Arendelle
Ugh.
and
Well,
in
how
the
can you-
ice castle.
Boo.
You live
How
in the
can you
up
be
house.
Elsa with no ice powers?
I just meant that if you were living in the ice castle, you would put yourself in the shoes of Elsa, so there'd be nobody else there. But if you
I
were
can
in the
at least
shoes of
entertain
Carl,
myself, right?
then Russell would be there.
Okay.
I mean, I picked the up house because I could travel all over the place.
I mean, yeah, the up house. Even if I couldn't like control it, I'd still be in a normal house.
yeah.
I'm in the sky.
Yeah, but
I'm,
what if there's
but
like
it's-
sky storms and a lot of bird poop? I don't know.
I
Bird
feel like
poop.
he's higher than Bird.
Yeah, man.
Never mind then.
And like, it's not absolutely freezing because it's not
That's
made of
definitely
ice.
more comfortable. Like
The
the
up house?
house, yeah,
Yeah.
is much more
It's
comfortable.
more comfortable. I can sit in my chair. Me and Russell could probably play cards or something. You know,
How long is that gonna last?
I don't know how many rounds of Go
You
Fish
know,
can
have
Russell
TV.
handle.
Do you have TV up there? I don't know.
It doesn't seem like Carl had a TV.
He had a Victrola. What do you call that thing?
What?
The thing with the horn.
Oh, like a record, like an old school record player.
Yeah,
that thing.
it starts with a V.
All right. Well,
Michelle wants
I
gummy
choose the
bears.
up house.
Yeah, I think I have to choose the up house because alone in a palace of ice. Elsa
Alone.
Elsa ain't got a TV either. Okay,
She seems happy
for
there, though.
sure. Carl at least has some books in his house. I'm positive.
He had a Victrola.
A Victrola.
Victrola.
I had to look it up.
Old school record player. Yeah.
Look, they have one on Groupon.
Oh. How much could
See?
Carl have sold that thing
Ooh.
for? Oh wow.
I'm kind of afraid of heights, though. Like, just the thought.
$826.99.
Whoa, Carl.
Carl, you could have sold this house and just taken a trip to Venezuela. You didn't have to go to the Shady Oaks place. You could have, man, Carl, missed opportunities.
Oh, Lord.
Because I know he didn't retire from being a balloon
The thought
artist
of
or
being
whatever.
in a hot air balloon scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Like a real
Yeah.
Look
hot
out the
air balloon.
windows.
Yeah, that seems like the least safe way to travel. Aside from strapping some balloons to your back and using a leaf blower to fly around. Like a
Yeah,
hot air
if you're a
balloon.
kid, I guess that seems highly plausible.
Yeah, sounds fun as well. So yeah, I
Alright.
choose the up house as well. We're all up house.
Yeah.
Up house.
Up
Luis
house.
is sleeping, so.
Yeah, he fell asleep.
Yeah,
I'll
Louis,
choose
Louis went
Arendelle
night-night.
Castle for him.
So dun 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 dun. No ice castles.
No ice castles.
You guys want to know some fun facts about this movie?
Go for it.
So apparently, Paradise Falls is based on a real place,
Oh, okay.
and it's called Angel Falls on Mount Roraima,
Okay.
which is the inspiration. It took 3 days to get there.
Oh my goodness.
They took an airplane to another airplane to a jeep to a helicopter back to a jeep and then trekked out to
Whoa.
get there. Russell, the character, was originally supposed to be named Lewis, but the story team changed it to avoid confusion because that's what the name of the Meet the Robinsons character.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Spelled the same way, Lewis. There's a couple different alternate endings for this movie, and they're all very weird. They all have to do with balloon animals.
Okay.
And they all have to do with balloon animals like evading Charles Muntz. One is like a scary, like weird thing through Carl's house like the balloon animal is like evading him, and he goes to find it, which I don't understand how that even has anything to do with
Yeah,
the movie.
wait, what?
It's like a balloon bird.
Okay.
And then the other one is that the balloon bird is going through the labyrinth where Kevin actually lives, and he gets lost in there forever.
Oh. Okay.
So
Balloon animals.
Well then,
I'm glad they didn't go with those because that's freaking weird.
Yeah.
Anywho, a little bit of a, what do you call that? Easter egg.
Mhm.
There's a postcard addressed to Carl and Ellie pinned to Andy's wall in Toy Story 3,
Oh.
which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
We actually saw a couple different ones when the house is first getting picked up out of whatever city they live in. I'm going to call it Southern California. I don't know.
Yeah, I would like to
Wherever
think that it's at least on the southern border.
Yes, I don't know.
He's
where
not flying from Maine to South America.
I'm coming from
He lives in Canada.
Canada. So once he gets picked up out of, I don't know, Burbank, he goes by a little girl's bedroom that has the Lexo ball and
Yeah.
yeah, I
Lasso.
saw that.
And then we also saw there's a couple nods to famous paintings. There's the dog. The dogs play
Yes,
poker.
the dogs when they're playing
Yeah.
poker.
And then at the end of the movie, we see Carl and Russell going to the movies. Do you remember what movie they were going to go see?
Oh, dude, it was
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars.
They were going to see Star Wars.
I was- I
Andre
got-
said,
I
"Good
got
choice."
very
Good
excited.
choice.
Yeah, nice, Russell.
Luis was like, "Oh, so this must have been in the '80s then." No.
I
Okay.
mean, there's been a couple of different periods of Star Wars movies, and this movie came out in 2009. So the latest one it could have been was Revenge of the Sith, which came out in 2005. So it could have been then. I don't know.
So there you go. But they went to go see Star Wars, and then at a couple scenes past that, you see Doug had puppies. It looks like,
Yeah.
and
Like a bunch.
it looks like 101 Dalmatians, like an homage to that.
Gotcha.
So
That makes
because there's literally like
A ton.
A lot of
a million.
Yeah, Carl looks thrilled.
Yes. So yeah.
So I know that this movie was like highly acclaimed. So what's its
Oh yeah.
tomatoes?
This movie did very well. It has a 98%
Oh, wow.
on Rotten Tomatoes. So this is like one of the highest scored Pixar movies, I believe.
It's definitely like one of the most popular.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of the reviews, and you know, people thought it was great. It was really funny and smart, and let's see what else they rate.
It's original for sure.
Yes. You know, got
That's what I miss about Pixar.
a lot of 4 and 5 star reviews. But I pulled up just some of the bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and this one's from Joe Morgenstern from the Wall Street Journal. He says the characterizations are fairly coarse cartoons, in contrast to the emotionally rich cartoons that have become Pixar's hallmark. They're more schematic than organic, and that applies to the plotting as well. Rotten. So I gave it a rotten review.
Oh.
I really appreciate his choice of words.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I agree about the plot, but like
But
the characters are pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
characters were great.
I think the characters are the
like
strongest
all
part.
of the dialogue between like the four
Carl
of
and
them.
Russell and
Like
Doug.
Carl, Russell, Doug, and I know Kevin doesn't talk, but he has body language
Yeah.
is great. Every time he tried to eat his cane, ugh.
And when Carl was like,
Oh my
or when
God.
Kevin was imitating Carl at the beginning, he was like, shoo, shoo. And then Kevin was like, meh, meh, with his wings. Very
So
funny.
good.
Oh, I totally forgot to even say this. Okay, let's back it up a little bit. So then we were talking about where they live.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys know, I mean, I know that we've talked about this before, but most of the Pixar movies, if not all of them, including this one, are made in Emeryville in California,
Mhm.
which is pretty close to where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
about an hour and a half maybe from where we're at. And so a lot of times it's interesting, like if they sneak some kind of California thing in there.
Yeah.
But the one thing that they do sneak in is the ice cream place that that Carl ends up taking Russell to at the end,
end.
which Carl's dad, Russell's dad had been taking him to.
Mm-hmm.
It's Fenton's Creamery. Well, Fenton's Creamery is a real place in Oakland. I forgot about this. So it literally looks just like it on the outside. So it very well could have been like they lived in Oakland
Yeah.
because Oakland had that same kind of boom.
Right.
Um,
yeah.
So when I say boom, I mean like
gentrification.
like the buildings and
Yes.
stuff. So you never know.
Yeah.
Like it could be. I think
Interesting.
it could be a Bay Area thing.
Yeah.
Because Emeryville is very close to Oakland, so
I was-
very well could be.
I was thinking a second
that
ago,
area.
just because of how fast they got to South America, that they maybe lived in like Florida, because that's where like old people live.
Oh, live in the Florida Keys.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyhow, I thought that was really interesting,
Yeah, Oakland.
especially because I actually saw today one of a listener of the podcast, Kelsey, and she had her tote bag on, and it was a Carl and Ellie tote bag that looked just like her, that looked like their mailbox that she had made.
Yeah, with the
Cute.
handprints.
And then I told her, I said, "Oh my gosh, you know we're doing Up Next Week," and she's like, "Yeah, I know." And she goes, "Do you want to know something really interesting?" And I said, "Yeah, what?" And she goes, "That's actually the first date that me and my fiance went on was to that ice cream
Aw.
parlor
Wow.
in Oakland." And I was like, "Oh my god, shut up."
Dude, that's amazing.
So, anywho, I thought
That's
that
so
was cute
cute.
because it's something you can actually go to,
Exactly. Yeah.
especially because it's retro. Like it's a retro
Right.
ice
It's
cream
like
parlor.
a 50s.
Now you're
Yeah.
making me want some ice cream.
Parlor.
That's what I'm talking about.
This movie won 2 Oscars. It won Best Achievement in Music.
It does have a beautiful score.
It has a
Michael
great
Giacchino.
score.
Yeah.
Giacchino.
Score is very good. I was humming it almost all day at work today.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was standing on your feet and we were dancing around to it in the
Oh
kitchen
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah, we did that. Mhm.
It was like, ow, my feet.
It also won Best Animated Feature Film of the Year.
Oh.
So
I believe it.
this movie is the first movie since Beauty and the Beast that was nominated for both Best Animated Feature and Best Picture.
Oh.
It only won
Wow.
Best Animated, but it was nominated
Sure.
for both. It was
Well,
also
it's
nominated
definitely-
for
and
Best Writing.
This is where I really want to give this movie like as much acclaim as it deserves. Is like this is an original Pixar concept of a movie. Like
Yeah.
it's very imaginative. It has wonderful storytelling, wonderful characters. The colors are bright and vivid and beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Like
animated very
this
well.
is, although we're saying like yes, you have to suspend a lot of your disbelief if we're getting technical with it. That's not what this movie is about. Like it's about a fun story, making you feel things. I cried actual tears a lot in this movie.
Word.
But that's like what I miss from Pixar. Is just like, oh, Up. What the heck is this movie going to be about? You know,
Right.
like I
Yeah.
remember seeing balloons in a house and being like, cool, I want to see it.
Right.
But we don't get that as much anymore. So that's really what it was. It was so original.
Yeah, and
That I really appreciate.
I think that was like the basic idea for the entire movie. It was just like Pete Docter, one of the directors, he just imagined like a house flying away using balloons and basing it on like a person flying away from all of their problems. Yeah, and that's the whole.
which is what it
germination of-
is. Honestly, it's
the entire
and
thing.
metaphor.
then you find new problems.
Right. Yeah. Like
Tis life.
talking dogs.
Yeah.
And a kid you never thought you needed.
Right. Yeah.
It's
and
very
a giant
I think-
female male named bird.
good. Yeah, I think a lot of me has to like shut out the dog stuff because that stuff was a little too weird for me.
Yeah.
But like the rest of the movie, I mean, I'm okay with Doug, but the rest of the dogs,
Yeah.
like, I need to go away.
I love the dog stuff. The fact that they served Russell the hot dog and then they
And
continued
they
to
ate
eat
the
the hot.
hog.
Hey,
He wears the cone of shame. I do not like the cone of shame.
yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
We
dog
got
stuff in this.
our dog. His name is Dougie, not Doug. But we got him a Doug stuffed animal, and it has a cone of shame on it. I took the cone of shame off, but we bought him that when our dog had surgery and had to wear the cone of shame.
Yeah,
And then we took a picture of them both with the cone of shame. It
Bought
was
my
cute.
buddy.
Yeah. He was like, oh, this stuffed animal dog is like me.
Dougie didn't like the cone of shame either.
I'm sure.
I do not like the cone of shame.
What else was I gonna say about this movie? Oh yeah, money. It also made a buttload of money.
Of course.
The budget for this movie was $175 million, and it ended up raking in a worldwide total of $735 million. So 3/4 of the bill. Not too
Pretty
shabby.
good.
Pretty nice.
Pretty good.
good.
And also there's just like some cool things they've done in the parks with Up. Like I have like World of Color memorized to a T, which is coming back this month, by the way, so I'm just dying. But it'll transition into the The sadder scene was just like the balloons coming up and the ding 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 ding. Oh, love it. And then they did do the like up across the castle, the up house with the fireworks.
Yeah, so the fireworks play
For
and then
the Pixar event.
the
I
castle
that.
slides, or the house slides across past the castle.
And then apparently Luis needs to go to Disney World so he can meet Kevin. Like
Yes.
that looks freaking amazing.
oh,
You can-
Kevin's there?
You can meet Kevin
Yeah.
in
Is he
Animal
13 feet
Kingdom.
tall? Oh my god.
Yes.
He's very tall.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'll have to. I've only posted something, but it looks seriously so cool.
It looks just like him too. Like they did a really good job with the. I don't want to call it an animatronic, but like with
Right.
the.
Well, I think it's a person on stilts,
Yeah.
like in it, but it looks so.
I don't know how though, because there's not like enough room in the neck.
Like the top must be like a puppet or
Like
something.
maybe
Yeah.
they're
You know.
sitting. Oh god,
Oh my
I don't
goodness.
know.
Yeah. The head and neck all must be puppetry.
But it looks so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
You know, one thing that
Oh,
I found
Russell
out that
rides
I
on 'em.
forgot to tell you,
Mm.
that someone, don't know who, this is a lot of work, but it's cool. They built a replica of the Carl and Ellie house in
Okay.
Utah.
Like a
and
life-size replica?
life size inside and out
so like
replica.
a house. They built a house.
Okay, yes. They built a house, painted it exactly the same,
Mm-hmm.
redid the inside so it was exactly the same, and it went for like $400,000.
Oh.
That's
Which
it.
I feel like it would
Yeah,
go
that's
for
kind of
more
cheap.
than that.
Yeah, honestly.
I guess
But the
because it's
house
in Utah.
itself isn't that big.
Right.
Yeah.
If you think about it, that
Yeah.
house wasn't huge.
Mhm.
It had like the front living room took up almost the entire
The
bottom.
entire
It was like a
space.
cottage
It was
size.
a very small kitchen,
Yeah.
and then it went straight up the stairs into the
Like
living
a one
space.
bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So maybe a 2-bedroom house.
Yeah.
But anywho,
Wow.
it's literally
People love
painted
to make
just like
life
it.
size replicas. I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I read an article, I think a couple weeks ago, about this dude who turned his basement into Fantasyland, and it looks freaking legit. I'll show you guys
Basement.
later.
Dang.
All right, you
Was
ready?
it creepy?
No, it was really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear the word basement,
Basement,
I think
yeah.
creepy. But go ahead.
Fantasyland. That's not
You
good.
ready to give your rating?
Ratings. Yes. I am going to give this movie.
You sound like Alpha. Calm down.
I am going to give this movie the rating of 9.0.
9.0.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9. Very fun, very watchable. Aside from the very sad first few minutes, it's a fun ride through the entire time basically. And I really enjoy Carl and Russell's relationship and Doug. Doug is my favorite.
Doug was your favorite?
Yeah, Doug's my favorite.
I love Doug
He's the
too.
best. Yeah, so 9.0 for me.
Luis.
What would you rate up?
A 9.
He's napping, guys.
Is that it?
Yep.
Because he likes Kevin.
Because he likes Kevin.
Kevin.
Kevin. I'm also going to give this movie a 9.
Boom.
For what it is, it's a beautiful movie. Makes me feel a lot of things that don't want to be felt, so I don't know if I'll watch it all the time. I think this was only like maybe the 3rd time I've seen it. But it's beautiful. Michael Giacchino did a wonderful job with the score.
Giacchino.
It's very iconic. And it's just one of those like, oh, kind of movies. On some aspects. I almost feel like there's 2 complete different storylines to this movie, but you know. 9. Emily.
I was going to give it an 8, but this is how I will give it a 9 because I would watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't pay a lot of close attention, and I know
Right.
that sounds weird, but like now that I have a kid that is interested in things and not interested in other things, she was super interested in this movie.
Gotcha.
Because it's
So,
funny. There's
yeah.
funny
Right.
stuff.
And it's for kids. I could see them thinking it was like super cute.
Mhm.
So like every time like Kevin would make like a oh noise or Doug, she would be like oh
Yeah.
So in that way, it was really cute.
Yeah.
So it's like I could see myself watching this again.
I know.
And
I did
enjoying
say
it.
she does. She's liking more of these movies now.
Yes.
Not all of them, but
No. Well, and it's so funny too because we watched The Incredibles 2 the other day, and I think it was just too like above her age.
Right, yeah.
Where she was
That's
just
too
like
much.
like when Dash was running around, she thought that was cute, but like it's just for older. It
Yeah.
didn't hit her
Right,
age,
yeah.
so she was just
She's
like
too
eh.
young.
So
But
I
up
might not
upscale.
watch it as much. Do you know what I mean?
It's got dogs and a bright colored bird.
I
yeah,
know.
there's a lot of
and
bright
a
stuff.
Vivid
going on here.
house. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's cute.
and the balloons are super cool to watch.
Yeah, and even a funny grumpy old man. That could
Yes,
probably
he is quite funny.
Mhm.
I like him.
The one thing I did like though was that I was expecting him to be much more curmudgeon-y than he was,
Right.
and he wasn't. Like, never once did I think he was like a mean man.
Right.
He
No,
wasn't mean.
He wasn't mean.
No.
He just was sad.
Yeah.
And honestly,
he's sad, and he had a goal
They were
that he
so
needed to
cute,
get to.
like in their like prime. Like he was the handsome. You could tell he was like a handsome, sweet dude. Like,
Well, and it's kind of funny because he kind of reminded me of my grandpa.
Really?
Like the way his like facial structure was
Mhm.
and his hair and everything. Like he kind of looked like my grandpa minus the glasses. So I was
Right.
like, oh,
with a super square face.
yeah, very square.
I
My
love
grandpa was not that square. I'll just say,
it.
but
Yes,
Yeah.
but very
still.
cute.
very cute. Okay,
Yeah, cute stuff.
we did it. Also, listen to Crack in the Vault because we're gonna talk about some shanks. What are we gonna talk about?
Some
Boo?
shanks, yeah. Some Disney trailers dropped this past week, so we're gonna discuss the Aladdin trailer and the Frozen 2 trailer on Crack in the Vault. So be sure to head on over to patreon.com/the Walt Vault to get yourself some cracky goodness. There we go. Okay. So next week we are going to not be choosing the movies.
What?
You, the fans, get to once again vote on a series of movies that we have pre-chosen for you.
You get to vote. You get to vote. You get to vote. Hey, 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 hey.
So next time, you have the choice between 3 live-action Disney movies from the 2000s. We've got
That may or may not be good.
right.
We remember them being good.
Exactly.
That's the
I
problem.
remember liking all 3
But
of these
did they
movies.
hold up over time?
That is what
Were
That's
they
the question.
No, the question is, were they even good
Were
when
they
came
ever
out?
good
To
to
begin
begin with? Or did we just like them?
So you can choose between 2010's Tron Legacy, 2004's National Treasure, or 2002's Holes. I can't remember when
Holes.
2003's Holes.
Holes.
So all 2000s movies.
Yeah.
Yep.
You get to pick between
Yeah, you're going like early 2000s, mid 2000s, late,
late
well, 2010.
2010s. Yes.
Early 2010. That's hilarious.
Yeah, Holes,
Boom.
National Treasure, Tron
And Tron
Legacy.
Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I
So-
think each of us has like the one we want.
Yeah.
Like-
we were kind
Yeah.
of struggling to decide, and then we were like, wait a second. We haven't had our listener vote yet. So
That's
you
right.
guys get to choose
So you
for
guys
us,
get to
and
choose
then we'll
for
stop
us.
arguing with each other about it.
Exactly. We're mitigating tension over here between us.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yes.
There
So
really wasn't that much tension, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
it was kind
We
of
just
like
couldn't choose.
it's fine. So go to Instagram.com/the Walt Vault Pod at the Walt Vault Pod, and you'll see the fan vote post. Go there, hit the comments up on which movie you want us to watch, review, and talk about.
boom,
Boom.
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 If you're on Instagram already,
Boom.
on our page,
Boom.
leave a comment on the post for this episode, and tell us what you thought of Up. Tell us your score. Hit us in the comments with your score. With your score. Or feel free to slide into our DMs and send us a message that we may or may not read on the show.
We'll read it, but will it be on the show?
Yeah.
Hermaner.
Or if you don't want to go on social media because you're like off the grid, you're in media blackout, you can send an email to contact@thewaltvaultpod.com, and we'll definitely read that message on
Which
the show.
we can't read the last message we got because we got an email last week, but it was all in Spanish.
It's
You could have given it to Luis. He could have read it.
well, the thing
I
is,
think it's spam.
It's definitely spam.
You made it sound like it was just a Hispanic listener.
We think it's spam.
No,
We couldn't decipher it.
It's 100% spam. There's a lot of question marks in the middle of words.
We're still gonna make Luis read
Condi
it.
question mark oh. And there's some dollar signs in here. I'm pretty sure they're asking me for money. So if you want to help out
It doesn't say quiero comida.
if you want to help out our inbox and make it so that I don't have to see these as much, and instead see lovely messages from you guys, that would be great. Contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. Other than that, you can also hit us up on Twitter and Facebook. We're on those at the Walt Vault Pod. And once again, hit us up on patreon.com/the Walt Vault. As little as $1 or more, you won't even miss that $1.
No.
You'll get access to our after show, A Crack in the Vault, You'll get access to the notes that I take for all these movies. I've been posting Let's Plays of Kingdom Hearts 3. And if you sign up at the $5 or more level, we'll send you a gift in the mail. Lots of perks over on patreon.com/thewaltvault. You guys, that's been it for us this week on the Walt Vault podcast. We'll see you next time for the movie that you've chosen for us. That's it. The vault is now closed.